Hi, welcome back to the Witchy Web We Weave. I'm Alara.
Alex.
And this is Al. Stop sneezing on me. Puppies. Anyway, today we're going to be covering Mabon, which is an upcoming holiday on the 22nd.
I thought it was the 20th. I think it starts on the 21st because it's like a few days long. It's not like a one shot.
It's right towards the end of September. So normally around 21st, 22nd, 23rd, I think. It's the autumnal equinox.
Mm-hmm.
So it normally, like, there is a center point, but it's generally, I think, considered to kind of carry over for a day or two.
So it starts on Saturday. And this is for the Northern Hemisphere, by the way?
Yes, it is. It is for the Northern Hemisphere. If we're doing Southern Hemisphere, then it's in March.
Yeah. Because right now, I think it's Letha in the South. It's opposite season, basically, so it's spring or summer down there.
I don't remember specifically. I just know for the for Mabon, or the autumnal equinox, for this particular equinox, it would happen in March for them.
Mm-hmm.
Since their seasons are flipped.
Flip-flop. So the autumnal equinox, like on your calendars, on the 23rd. It's on that Monday.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for those of y'all that are not quite familiar with the equinox, for the autumnal equinox, this is the equinox where day and night are equal lengths before the days start getting shorter and the nights start getting longer.
Before the dark times.
Before the dark times.
Sorry.
I love the dark half of the year.
Yes.
Like, I know I always talk about like solar energy and like soaking up the sun and all things solar, but I actually really do like the dark time of year.
I like the clothes in the winter better. I always have, honestly.
Well, that, and since we're in Texas, summer is pretty unforgiving. Like, it's brutal. Not like out in the desert, no humidity brutal, but since we have a ton of humidity,
it's a different kind of brutal, honestly. Sometimes I prefer the desert heat just because I'm from the West Coast. It sucks less, typically.
With really, like, hot days and humidity in Texas, it feels like you're just slowly dying and wilting and you can't breathe because there's water.
You can swim through the air. Imagine that.
Yeah, which I know that the rest of the world doesn't go by Fahrenheit. They go by Celsius. But Fahrenheit speaking, in Texas in the summer, lately we've had a heat index of, 105?
I don't know. I thought we'd been getting cooler recently.
No. Like, today, my mom got a notification from the electric company that we needed to try to conserve energy more than normal because the heat index was going to be so high that it was going to put a strain on the overall, like, area for multiple people. So we're like, okay, well, I guess we won't be cooking supper.
Damn.
Well, we have an electric stove.
Well, whatever.
Things like that. Little things.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so also on top of it being Mabon because of the autumnal equinox, this is also a pretty significant holiday because it's also not just where day and night are of equal lengths before the night starts taking over, but this is also a celebration of the second harvest of the year, which is something that my family is, because they live in a more rural and country part of the U.S., they have a lot of crops. There's a lot of agricultural land in their area, so this is something that they kind of are in tune with.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly feel like I had mentioned in our Lamas Lunasa video that I don't think a lot of people associate harvest with August, honestly. It's just, I get like that's where a lot of like the end times of fruit and some other stuff kind of happens, but Mabon is pretty much like the equivalent of American Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And like all the stereotypical things you would think of as Thanksgiving are related to Mabon. Like, I was looking up images for Mabon and the cornucopia was everywhere.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, right? And like all these like squash, like we're gonna talk more about stuff, but a lot of the same plants and the same foods are at both because it's time of year.
That actually has made it kind of easier for me as I have gotten more and more to celebrating the wheel of the year rather than traditional American holidays, just because this is still something that I have with my family. I still have they still have Thanksgiving, so they're celebrating Thanksgiving, and me being a historian, I know where Thanksgiving actually came from, and that has kind of put a damper on me since I was kind of young. So at least now I have a way to actually be grateful and thankful and happy regarding this time of year. While they're doing Thanksgiving, I have my own thing. They just don't know I'm doing something other than Thanksgiving, or that I'm calling it something different, basically.
Yeah. Which kind of always throws me off because, like, I know Thanksgiving, like, is because, like, historically or whatever, it happened, I guess, in November.
That's what they...
Is it?
I don't know. That's what schools tell us, but...
No.
I didn't know it was supposed to be, like, right before the winter set in because Indians were supposedly trying to help keep the townsfolk from starving in the winter, right? Because they didn't know how to keep themselves alive.
But I'm like, when does winter hit on the East Coast? Like, y'all get winter, like, hardcore on the East Coast. So, I don't know. I just feel like this is so relevant to, like, what we see as Thanksgiving. I feel like they should have been closer in date together almost. Because it's 2 months apart. Like, that's a lot of time, really, if you're thinking about something. Because, like, we're gonna get into Yule when Yule happens, but, like, Yule encompasses Christmas. Like, it's right there, you know? And, like, Samhain is Halloween and all this other stuff. They're all in the same week, you know? They're all in the same kind of set of 7 days. The spring equinox, you know, or the... Is it equinox, or is it a different word?
No, it's spring and fall.
Yeah, so the spring one is, like, where Letha lands. Like, you know, everything else kind of lands together except for the fall holiday, which I always thought was kind of funny, but that's just me. But you want to just get into it?
I guess so.
Alright, so...
So...
Do you want to do correspondences or kind of like the behind the scenes?
Just... What do you have for behind the scenes?
Kind of like, you know, like what the holiday kind of... Well, I mean, we kind of touched on that, though. Like,
yeah,
what it kind of means.
Because really, this whole holiday is all about...
thankfulness.
Thankfulness and abundance. Gratitude is a really, really big idea, which is kind of why, for me, because I still have... My whole family is still on American and Christian holidays, and they don't know that I celebrate differently now. For me, this time of year, it just turns into a seasonal thing, rather than a specific, like, Mabon, like the autumnal equinox. It just turns into, like, a seasonal adherence for me, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
So this whole time of year, for me, it has become much more abundance, gratitude, charity, giving to others that are in need, because really, I really associate this particular holiday season, this specific holiday, with the idea of seeing the blessings that life has been given to you, or, you know, that you are experiencing in your life, being aware of your blessings, counting them, showing gratitude for those good things that are coming or have come to you, and then whatever you have that's a little left over that someone else may be in more need of, giving to them and kind of sharing the abundance, which is why this is actually a really big time of year that I do most of my charity knitting. Like, I knit a bunch of, like, homeless hats, and that's the big one that I do. I knit a bunch of hats that I donate to homeless children or homeless adult organizations or schools. And I've done, like, sock drives, and I also recommend, because food is a very big part of this particular holiday, and if you're wanting to celebrate a little bit by spreading abundance and doing some charity bit, I heavily recommend donating to a food pantry. That is a really good way to celebrate this particular season or this particular holiday while still trying to show gratitude for what you have and sharing an abundance for those that have a little less.
Mm-hmm. Or in that same vein, things like soup kitchens. If you have the time to donate versus...
Yes.
Because not everyone has time, you know?
Yeah.
So, either way, if you can donate stuff or time, it's good stuff either way.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot harder for me to donate my time, but since I'm in class and I knit to keep myself from going crazy and keep focused so I can actually hear and listen to what's being said.
I'm surprised they don't yell at you.
You know what? They would, and you can always see it like forming in their eyes when the professor, like, because first day of classes just started here recently. So I always do, like, the first class is my test the waters, and it's always the same. I sit there and I knit, and all the professors start off with this very skeptical look until they realize during the entire time that they've been talking, I have not looked down. I maintain eye contact.
Oh.
And the longer they stare at me, the more eye contact there is, until eventually, after 10 or 15 minutes, they realize I don't look down. And as long as I can maintain eye contact, they don't care, because they can tell I'm with them.
Dang.
I've only had one professor that said, I don't care if you can make eye contact and can tell, I can tell that you're following along and you're listening and you're getting all this, put it away. And honestly, she wasn't really that great of a teacher.
Dang.
Like, there were multiple complaints for lots of reasons.
Dang. Off the tangent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes. But
other
that's how I get
kind
my
of
charity knitting in.
there you go. Other ways to kind of I was looking up like correspondences and things to do on Mabon, honestly, just because this is the first year where I really have put effort into learning the holidays, if I'm going to be honest. I've had books and I've had other things before, but I never really jumped in. I was just kind of like, oh, they're a thing,
Yeah.
So a lot of things that I saw mentioned was gratitude spell work.
Yeah.
So, again, the whole thankful thing, gratitude and all that stuff. Another really good thing that I saw was cleansing, both of spiritual type of stuff and literally just washing your clothes and dusting your shelves.
Yeah, almost like spring cleaning, but
Yeah.
like basically house cleaning. All of those things that you said, plus I think house or home blessings.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically broom cleanings.
Yeah.
Like broom cleansings, like cleanse your broom. And like gratitude lists or focusing on like letting go spells or letting go practices.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think this time of year for spell work specifically is very good for home protection and for doing balance and prosperity spell work.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is also like the very beginning of the time of year where shadow work starts picking up, where people more and more start focusing on shadow work, especially like because next we're going to be heading into Samhain.
Mm-hmm.
And Samhain is major shadow work territory for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the very tricklings of beginnings of shadow work for those of you that do more seasonal shadow work rather than year round.
Mm-hmm. Probably because it's easier to do this time of year with veils and stuff.
Yes, that's probably true. And it's also, this time of year is very, like, nostalgia heavy for me. Like, for me, this is, like, from midsummer to the end of the year, this is, for whatever reason, I get hit with a major bout of nostalgia and, like, remembering, like, loved ones that have passed or,
I think it's because there's so many holidays this time of year, honestly.
Maybe.
Because, whether you're American or, wherever, there's a lot of holidays worldwide between now and the end of the year.
Yeah, because...
this year, because I know there's other calendar years and stuff, but we're just going to go on our regular January to December 12-month calendar to not get confused. But yeah, because I was reading something that a lot of people get like... I don't want to get political, but it was when the Starbucks thing was happening a couple of years ago with their cups and whatever. And someone was like, how many holidays are celebrated in the last 3 months of the year? It's like, I think 50 or something. It's like this huge amount of holidays.
Cross-culture.
Yeah. Worldwide. Different religions, different practices,
like,
different
There's
whatever.
a reason why it's happy holidays or the holiday season. It's because it really is a season of different holidays for different cultures. And since America is supposed to be a land of many cultures.
Mm-hmm. Melting pot.
Melting pot.
Yeah, that's where we're supposed to be.
That's what we're supposed to be.
Anyway, but going along that with what you were saying with the nostalgia, whatever you're celebrating, as a time for family to get together, having the friends over, the neighbors if you're close to them, sharing food, gift giving, whatever that means. If that's gifting food, if that's gifting things, crafts, whatever. hanging out with the family, playing football with the kids or whatever you're doing. You're normally
That's
doing.
very American.
That could be soccer too, you know.
I know, but I know that that's not where you were coming from.
I was already just thinking flag football in my head.
Nice.
But my point is, like, you know, you're doing it as a collective typically. Like,
Yeah.
this is probably this is probably like the time of year where,
It's very family oriented.
yeah,
Very community oriented.
And I was gonna get into, because I didn't read a lot of them, but it was talking about how, like, solitary practitioners celebrate these kind of holidays. And I was like, I know, like, that's a thing, like, especially if you're not new to an area or something, but I'm like, I just feel like these holidays are meant to be with people. Not necessarily your family, maybe, like, if, you know, like, especially, like, you or me, where our family kind of lives all over the place. We don't really live near our family.
Yeah.
We can't always
I get
travel.
very homesick this time of year.
Yeah.
Like I get homesick for the mountains. I get homesick for Arkansas. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think holidays like this, they are meant to be celebrated with people, friends or family, whatever you deem family to be, because family is not just blood family, but the family that you make and create yourself. That these are very communal holidays.
On that note, though, real quick, I will say that if you are a practitioner of anything in this kind of realm, I would look for a group for these holidays, honestly. Like, I know one of the stores we've been to, they do celebrations every season, and they're open to the public as long as you're not a total butt about it, you know? I was going to say something else. I'm trying to keep it a little PG here. You know, if you show up to someone's house and you're just like, oh, well, you're going to hell, you know, that's not something you should really do, right? But if you practice all this and you just want to kind of get in the community, holidays are a good time to do that, I think, because it's a bigger group. It's not just going to be like a small class where maybe, you know, what's that quote? I think it's from like The Great Gatsby or something. It's like, at a party you're alone because of how many people are there, but it's a lot more intimate to be with like a small group of people. So
Yeah,
maybe that
because-
kind of works for you, you know, because a little bigger group like at a park or at a store might be a better way to,
Because you're not an
kinda jump
island in
in.
a crowd.
yeah. So just food for thought.
Cool. So when we're talking about actual correspondences for this time of year, this particular holiday is very food oriented.
Mm-hmm.
It's very food oriented. It's very family oriented. But there's a lot of apples, corns, acorns, squash,
Pumpkins. 'cause
pumpkins.
squash it,
Pumpkins.
yeah.
Pumpkins is a big one here.
Pumpkin spice.
You had to say it, huh?
Sorry, but that is a way to celebrate.
Which actually, yes, spices such as cinnamon, cloves,
nutmeg.
they are very traditional for this particular time of year for us, and also for this particular holiday.
Mm-hmm. Hence why, like, people like to make fun of it, but pumpkin spice is seasonal for a reason, because it's this time of year.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of more random kind of herby things that I found was frankincense and myrrh
Yes.
are like a thing, and
They're very earthy and musky.
Yeah,
so that kind of makes
I'm
sense
thinking,
to me.
mhm.
Because when I think of earth and I think of musk, I think of like decaying leaves and fallen leaves, which is very fall. It's very autumnal.
Mm-hmm.
So very in tune with Mabon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I saw for herbs rue, yarrow, chamomile, and chamomile makes sense to me because of the sun element.
Mm-hmm.
And then rosemary, which rosemary for like cleansing and protection and things, that makes sense to me as well.
Mm-hmm. So this would be a really good time of year to like make a spray. You were talking about that in another
Rosemary
video.
spray.
But yeah, especially if you're doing a cleansing, just.
Yep.
The other one that I kind of laughed because it kind of reminded me of something you had said a while ago. Thistle.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is the purple thing, or they're the purple thing, right? I love thistles. I went to Scotland and it was a fall thing. Anywho, some of the flowers, we have another video that's already up. It's about kind of it's sunflowers, but a lot of them happen to be fall flowers because marigold, sunflower, and chrysanthemums were what we talked about, and they're all correspondences with Mabon. So that video kind of worked out really well, actually. Time of year,
Yeah, marigolds in general are also a thing. Also, trees, oak and walnut are very big for this particular holiday season or this time of year.
Now, I saw a lot of mention of almond, but I don't know if almond trees necessarily.
Oh.
So,
I don't know.
not sure.
Telemarketer.
Mm-hmm.
Please ignore. I am sorry.
Um,
My life is forever haunted by them.
Same. So, stones. The ones I really found were quartz, citrine, and lapis lazuli.
I got tiger's eye. I got all of those plus tiger's eye, gold sheen obsidian.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I can too. And did you say topaz?
No, I did not.
Topaz and peridot.
Yeah, I can kind of see where like some of the August stuff kind of trickled into the September stuff. Now, yeah, I think I saw topaz, but it was also on a list with like certain diamonds and stuff. And sapphires, and I was like, that's kind of fancy, but I mean, if you got it, flaunt it. So.
Also, in spirit of the season, we're drinking apple tea.
Hell yeah.
You can't get much better than that because apples are a very big part of this particular like holiday part
Right.
of the year.
Now, I was trying to remember because I know for sure I saw it in Charmed many, many years ago, like the old school Charmed.
I never watched Charmed. I know.
We'll fix
Continue.
it someday. Anyway, but I swear a kid show did it too, and I thought it was Barney. It was something when I was real young, like pre 6 years old, right? Like 4 or 5 years old.
Like
it was
Muppets or Sesame Street. Or
yeah, it was something like on PBS because that's what I watched when I was younger. I watched PBS.
That's what we all watched when we were younger.
I don't know. Maybe people had cable by then. I don't know, man. Rich people. I don't know. Yeah. But I swear they did the same thing. And what the thing is when you cut an apple, I think it's this way. So not the normal way that you would think to cut an apple, because I always cut them this way.
Yeah.
But when you bisect it,
You make circular slices.
yeah, and you get a star right in the middle, which there's a lot of symbolism and religious and all kinds of things
Yes.
behind that. We're not going to get too much into that right now.
Yeah, the apple is very big in symbolism and mythology and lots of different things. For different cultures too. But
But that's one of the
specifically
crafts I saw to do.
making apple slices or apple chips or turning baking them, drying them out to turn them into ornaments, or just making baking apple into like a bread.
Pie.
A pie, yes.
Yeah.
Those are all very big activity things for this particular season.
Well, yeah, one of the things I was kind of reading about was obviously like cooking, baking, and all this stuff. But a lot of them were just kind of mentioning like, you know, bread, cake, you know, pie, whatever. And people forget that you can bake a squash. Like, just
Yeah.
slice it, throw it in there with some butter, right? Like spaghetti squash.
Where I'm from, I'm used to fried squash.
I don't know if I've ever
Like
had
that. That's a cultural thing where I'm from is fried squash. It's delicious. Anyway, but yeah, as far as like cooking, like this is a great time for kitchen witchery. But for this time of year, we're talking grains, breads, because we're talking about a second harvest, and wheat is a very big thing in the northern hemisphere. Apples, squash, pumpkins, corn. We've all mentioned all these, but there's also big ones are cider. Cider
Yeah.
is huge, as well as different root vegetables and pomegranates and beans.
Yeah. I couldn't think of anything that was a root besides a turnip and a carrot. If I'm gonna be honest.
Potatoes.
Oh, you know, I was thinking potatoes is like their own thing. Like, because they mentioned, I was like, because a lot of people are like, okay, you know, seasonal. Like you got your savory and your sweet and all this stuff. So, I still don't get why people put sweet stuff on sweet potatoes.
They're delicious.
Put some salt and pepper on them. They more delicious.
I mean, to each their own. Why we judging? Don't be judging.
Ruining a vegetable. They're vegetables.
You're ruining a vegetable.
Would you put marshmallows on a normal potato? No.
But a regular potato isn't sweet. I mean, we turn carrots into carrot cake.
Yeah. And carrot cake, when you're being like hardcore about it, is not very sweet until you put all that frosting on there.
Just saying. Anyway, this is not going to devolve into an argument, I swear, I promise you. We're going to continue onward.
So where are we at? Colors?
Yeah, which fall colors?
Honestly, browns, reds, yellows, oranges. Again, pumpkin spice, that isn't a color now. It is though, like, because it's not quite like that pumpkin orange anymore. It's like the pumpkin orange with like a little bit of brown in there, you know?
I like russet. That's my favorite color for this time of year. It's like that.
The russet potatoes?
Yeah, it's like an orangey red, but it's almost like it's a rust color, and I love it. It makes me so happy.
I think certain purples would kind of fall in this too.
Yes, I would think so.
I forget the shade. Like, not a violet, but something more red than blue, I think.
Like a red violet?
Is that what it's really called? I feel like there should
we have red violet and we have blue violet.
I feel like there's like a nicer name. Either way. But yeah, like that kind of more, I feel like redder tones of things fall into this holiday a little better.
And then I guess lastly would just be talking about just different activities, which we've already mentioned a few of them. Some other ones that I would recommend for this time of year, most of them I think are going to be more group or community based. So I like the idea of a drum circle for this time of year. It's very primal. I love it. Corn dolly making is very traditional for this time of year. I would recommend nature walks as the leaves start to turn.
If you have that.
Well, even like walking the city, you can still like.
No, I know, but there's like some places that don't have seasons, so they don't have trees that die. It's just green. Like California. Me growing up all my life, I had never seen like a colored tree. For the most part, it's just green year round.
That reminds me, there is a video made by Katie Flowers. She's another very well-known YouTuber, very well-respected. And she lives in Australia, and she's talking about how to celebrate holidays or celebrate non-traditional seasons for those that do not experience the normal, like, Northern Hemisphere season. So she talks about learning to get in touch with your area based on what happens for that particular time of the year. Like, it could be nesting season, swooping season, you know, seasons instead of based on like the turning of the leaves or changing of colder weather. It can be for those that are more urban, maybe like the coming of people like tourists or the migrations of different animals that are specific to your area. Like, you don't have to celebrate seasons based on specifically like plants, trees, you know, changing of the colors. It can be something much more personal to your area, which may make it more personal to you, especially if you live in a big city and are not always surrounded by trees and nature.
Yeah, true.
Something to consider and think about, and I would highly recommend you going over to Katie Flowers and seeing that particular video or any of our other ones. She is fantastic. But anyway, going back to other activities, I know we've mentioned this before with the spring equinox, because for us we both kind of view it as equinoxes are also that time of the year where the veil is very thin in our opinions. So this is a great time for divination, especially as it stretches closer and closer to Samhain. And then I think just gratitude ceremonies. And as we mentioned before, charity work or donations, things like that, I think are very in tune with this particular.
The last, I guess, thing I would mention is if you do seasonal altars. I don't, so I can't. I have an altar in general, honestly. But I have seen kind of like what you would leave out would be candles, typically in seasonal colors, garlands of fall stuff, like so apples or leaves or something. Leaves in general are a good thing to put there, like fallen leaves, obviously. Apples, acorns are a big symbol of the time of year. Can we eat acorns?
I don't know. I've never tried to eat an acorn.
I haven't either. I was curious because like everything else eats acorns, like little chipmunks and squirrels and stuff. So I was wondering, like, I don't know. I feel like I've seen a recipe for acorn bread, but I could be wrong. Anyway, acorns are a big symbol in general for this time of year. I guess it's like the whole seed before the spring, right? So it's all that energy compacted to then become possibly a tree in the future. But yeah, like that's the only other thing I kind of think of, which I don't know about other YouTubers, I'm sure they do too, but I know Hearthwitch does seasonal altars, and she typically posts a video every season, so she would probably be a good example of how an altar could look, possibly.
Also, this is also a pretty good time of year since there's also this is heavily food related, heavily baking related. Baking with other people is recommended for this particular holiday. But also the idea is since we are getting closer and closer to, I call it the ancestor time of year, closer to Samhain, things like that. It's also a really good time that since you're already doing more baking, to start thinking about offerings. Like you can leave offerings of baked goods on your altars for your deities or for your ancestors, for your guidance spirits, you know. Just something to think about.
True.
Alright, anything else?
I want to say something, because you said something and that reminded me of something, and I guess something. Yeah. No. But yeah, if any of y'all have any questions, comments, whatever, let us know. We'll try to answer them. But yeah, we will see you on the next time.
Alright.
Toodaloo.
Bye.